Hello everyone, now let's take a look at this problem here. I got 5 pi over 12 and that's the radians and I want to turn that into degrees. So let's take a look how I would go ahead and do that. So I have this problem here. I like to visualize it, right? And then we'll talk about how to do it just mathematically or just procedurally. So I got 5 pi over 12. So if we look, like I said, so this is pi over 4, this is 2 pi, this is pi over 2, half a pi, and this is pi. So that's going to be pi. And this right here is pi over 2, or half a pi. Half a pi is the same thing as 6 pi over 12, right? Right, 6 over 12 simplified is just 1 over 2. Therefore, pi over 2 is just equal to 6 pi over 12. Now, we want to find out 5 pi over 12, which means it's going to be a little bit less. So that's going to be about right there. And that right there is about 5 pi over 12. And all I have to do is I have to find out, I have to just subtract pi over 12. I have to subtract pi over 12. And then I get 5 pi over 12, right? So 6 pi over 12 minus 5 minus pi over 12 is equal to 5 pi over 12. So that's how I want to find it. Because I know that pi over 2 right there, we know that that's 90 degrees, right? So if it's 90 degrees, I just have to find out what pi over 12 is. And then I can subtract it in pi over 12 in terms of the degrees, and I can subtract it from 90, and then I can go ahead and find the answer. So let's take a look. Pi over 12. I got pi over 12. How would I find the degrees for that? Okay. So let's take a look. I think that we know that pi over 12 is also pi over 12 is Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. So today we're going to be converting radians to degrees and degrees to radians. And instead of just memorizing formula, I want you guys to be able to actually visualize what is happening here. So let's get started. And I will show you guys, instead of just memorizing formula, I want to show you guys how we actually convert visually, okay? So I'm going to draw two circles. So that's going to represent degrees, and that's going to represent radians. So that's 360 degrees, and that represents 2 pi, right? So 360 degrees is the same thing as 2 pi. In terms of radians, 2 pi is 360. So let's take a look. Actually, I'm going to draw a circle a little bit bigger. Okay. It's not a very good circle, but it's okay. So we got right here, that's going to be 0 degrees, right? That's going to be 90 degrees. That's going to be 90 degrees. That's going to be 180 degrees. That's going to be 270 degrees. and that's going to be 360 degrees, right? And in terms of radians, this is going to be 0 radian. This is going to be half of a radian, half pi over 2. That's going to be pi. That's going to be 3 pi over 2. And then that's going to be 2 pi. 4 pi over 2, which is the same thing as just 2 pi, right? So that's what we have. Now we're taking a look at the angle 290. So 290 is going to go about here, right? So 290 is going to go right here. I'm going to draw another line. So I'm going to say that's about 20 degrees. And that right there, my friends, is 290 degrees. So what this means is that also for the radiant, all we need to do is we just have to add 20 degrees, right? But not 20 degrees. We want to find 20 degrees in terms of radians. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, let's go ahead and find 20 degrees in terms of radians. And then we could just add it to this, and then we get our answer. Okay, so let's take a look. How do we find what 20 degrees is? So let's take a look. There's a different ways of doing it, but I like to do it this way. So let's take a look. This entire thing is 180 degrees, right? This semicircle is 180 degrees. And also, this semicircle is pi, okay? So 180 degrees is the same thing as equals to pi, right? Now, 20 degrees, okay? So what is 20 degrees? Then what is it in terms of pi? Okay, so we know that in order for me to go from 180 degrees to 20 degrees, I just have to multiply it by 1/9. I just have to multiply it by 1/9 or divide it by 9. It's the same thing. Dividing by 9 or multiplying 1/9 is the same thing. Because 20 degrees is a ninth of 180 degrees, right? 20 degrees is a ninth of 180 degrees. So then how do I go from pi, right? So the same thing, same operation, right? So that's going to be also times 1/9. Therefore, pi times 1/9 is just pi over 9. Pi over 9. So what we learned is that 20 degrees is just pi over 9, right? 20 degrees is pi over 9. So then what we need to do is we just go over here. 20 degrees is 20 pi over 9. So we just go 3 pi over 2 plus pi over 9, right? So in order for us to do that, we have to get the denominators the same. So the common denominator is 18. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 9 and multiply the denominator and the numerator by 2. And then we get 3 times 9 is 27 pi. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 2 pi. 2 times pi is 2 pi over 9 times 2 is 18. And then we get 27 pi plus 2 pi is 29 pi over 18. So my answer is 29 pi over 18. So what we get is 29 pi, 29 pi, 29 pi, 29 pi over 18. Yes. So that's actually the correct answer. I think I already answered it before. And so, yeah, it just took me to the next answer. But that's how you do it. But I do want to also show you guys a different method, right? So what we did was we were trying to find 270 degrees. We were trying to find 270 degrees in radians, right? 270 degrees in radians. There is a more simple way, and I don't really like this method just because you don't have to really think mathematically to solve it, but I'll just show it to you. So I got 270 degrees, which is the same thing as 360 degrees, right? And then we were looking at 2 pi. So 2 pi is the same thing as what? 360 degrees, right? 2 pi is the same thing as 360 degrees, and we're solving for now x. Okay, so how do we do that? So we go, there's a thing called cross multiplication, right? We just multiply this guy and these guys, right? So what is 270 times 2 pi? That's 540 pi. 540 pi is equal to 360 x, and then we divide 360 on both sides, right? And then we got x is equal to 540. We get this we divide the numerator and the denominator by 10. We get 54 over 36, and we divide the numerator and denominator by 2, and then I get 26. What's 54 divided by 2? Oh my gosh. 54 divided by 2, that's 27. 27 over 2 divided by 36. Oh, I should not do division that way. Is 18, which is x. By the way, this it shouldn't be 2 divided by 54. It should be 55 divided by 2. So this is actually incorrect. So it should be like this, like that. That's correct. And this should be divided by 10 right there. Divided by 10 right there, not right there, because that's incorrect. Okay, so 27 over 18, and that is in fact the answer that we got before. But this way, you don't see visually what's happening, right? You have no idea what's happening. You're just plugging in a bunch of formulas that you don't understand why you do it. And so I don't necessarily like this method, but you can use this as a way to check your answer. But if you rewind the video, it was in fact 27 over 18. So we do get the same answer if you do it that way. I just don't like to do it that way because it doesn't cause you to think very much. So now I'm going to solve this one right here. We got theta is equal to 5 pi over 12. Turn that into degrees. So I'm going to just draw the visual so that we know a little bit of what we're talking about here. So that's 0. We know that that's 90 degrees or pi over 2, which is equal to 90 degrees, right? And then pi over 2 is the same thing. Pi over 2 is the same thing as 6 pi over 12, right? Because 6 divided by 12 is 1/2. So 1 pi over 2 is the same thing as 6 pi over 12, okay? All right. Now, it's 5 pi over 12, right? 5 pi over 12 is about right there. 5 pi over 12, okay? So that's what we're talking about. Now, we're going to use this procedure to find out what the degree is actually, okay? So what I'm, excuse me, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do this like this. So I got 6 pi over 12, right? All over 2 pi, okay? If that confuses you, don't worry about it. I'll explain how that works in a second. And we're talking about in terms of 360 degrees, right? Okay, so this is what this is saying. If 2 pi is 360 degrees, what is 6 pi over 12? Not 6 pi over 12, 5 pi over 12. 5 pi over 12 in terms of degrees. So this right there is in terms of degrees, right? So if 2 pi represents 360 degrees, what does 5 pi over 12 represent in terms of degrees? So we're going to go ahead and solve that. So we got 5 pi over 12 times 360. So by the way that you do these ones is you have to do something called cross multiplication, like layup and like layup, okay? So we got 5 pi 12 times 360. So 5 pi over 12 times 360, we're cross multiplying. 360 degrees is the same thing as 360 over 1. And then 2 pi is equal to x times x to the degree, okay? So 5 times 360, what is 5 times 360? 5 times 360 is equal to 1,800. So we got 1,800. So 5 times 360 is 1,800 pi over 12 times 1, which is 12, is equal to 2 pi x degrees, okay? And then let's do 1,800 divided by 12. 1,800 divided by 12, that's going to be 150. 150 pi is equal to 2 pi is x degrees, and then we're going to do 2 pi on both sides. The pi's cancel out. 150 divided by 2 is 75 is equal to x. So I believe that degree is 75 degrees. 75 degrees. And voila. Okay. So that is the mathematical or just the procedural way to do it. And it makes sense, right? It makes sense. If this is 90, this is going to be a little bit less than 90. So it's going to be about 75 degrees. And if this is 75 degrees, we know that pi over 12 then is equal to 15 degrees, right? Why? Because 90 minus 15 is 75. And 6 pi over 12 minus 5 pi over 12, or 6 pi over 12 minus pi over 12 is 5 pi over 12, okay? So yeah, if that confuses you, pause the video and really think about that, because that's important, okay? So we just found out what pi over 12 also is equal to. Pi over 12 is equal to 15, because 90 minus 15 is 75, and 6 pi over 12 minus 5 pi over 12 is 5 pi over 12, okay? All right, let's go try another one. All right, 345 to radians, okay? So 360, yes. So 5 pi over 12. So what we just learned is that 15, like in that just video, in the last problem, we learned that 15 degrees is just, what is it called? Pi over 12, right? That's what we said. If that is the case, then we know that if we just add 345 degrees plus 15 degrees is equal to 360, right? So we just need to get 2 pi, which is 360. So how do I go from 2 pi represents 360, right? Plus pi over 12. Remember, pi over 12 is the same thing as represents 15 degrees. Then what is x, right? So we just have to go backwards, right? Because we know that 15 degrees is pi over 12, like we just did in the previous video. So now let's solve for x. So we got x plus pi over 12 is equal to 2 pi, and then we subtract pi over 12 on both sides, and then we got x is equal to, so 2 pi minus pi over 12. We have to get the denominators the same. So 2 pi, we're going to multiply the top and bottom by 12. And then what I'm going to get is 24 pi over 12 minus pi over 12. And that's going to be 23 pi over 12. And that is my answer, 23 pi over 12, 23 pi over 12. So let's take a look. 23 pi, we got 23 pi over 12. Let's see if that's right. Yeah, that's right. So I want to show you guys, you know, another way, because if that confused you, I'll show you guys another way. We can do the mathematical way or the visual way, you know, but I want to show you guys the visual real quick so you guys know what I'm talking about. So we have 345 degrees, right? So 345 degrees, if that is 0, if that's 0 degrees, 345 degrees is about like right there. 345 degrees. And that right there, that distance, right, or the angle over here, that's going to be 15 degrees, right? So what we just did was we got 345, which is my x, and then we added whatever this in terms of this is in terms of radians, and then we added up and see what was 360. So this is exactly what we just did, right? So this we found out was 23 pi. 345 is 23 pi over 12. 15 pi is pi over 12. And pi over 12 plus 23 pi over 12. So 23 pi over 12 plus pi over 12. That equals 24 pi over 12, which is equal to 2 pi. Which, by the way, is 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi. You see? So it all worked out. So 23 pi 12 plus pi over 12, which is 15 degrees, all of that equals to 360, okay? So now I'm just going to show you the mathematical way. Here we go. Let's do the mathematical way. So what we're going to do is we have 345. So we got 345 over 360, right? And so 360 is the same thing as 2 pi, right? So if 360 degrees represents 2 pi, what is 345 in terms of pi? That's what this problem is saying. So we do cross multiplication like that. We multiply these two like that. Like that. So we go 345 times 2 pi. 345 times 2 pi is equal to 360 times x. Okay, so 345 times 2. What is 345 times 2? So we're going to 345 times 2, which is 690. 690 pi is equal to 360x. Divide 360 on both sides. And then 690, I think that's going to give me a decimal. Yeah, that's going to give me a decimal. So we know that we can cancel that out. We got 6936 pi is equal to just x. So let's simplify 69 over 36. So we're going to divide the top and bottom by 13. And then we got 69 divided by 13 is just 23. And then 36 divided by 13 is... no, that's not right. That's not right. My bad. We can't divide by 13. Yeah, that wouldn't work. We have to divide by 3. So 69 divided by 3 is 23. And 36 divided by 3 is 12. Which is my answer right there. You see that? So my answer is going to be 23 over 12 pi is equal to x, which we had right there. So that's another way of solving it. If you have any questions, please let me know.